This is the Microlab for file management, or using the File Explorer. This is a Windows class, remember, and we're teaching you how to use Windows tools. There are things that are comparable on a Mac, but we're not going to be showing them here because it's not part of the curriculum, and they are actually quite different. But here we go, File Explorer. You will find it down here on your taskbar in Windows, unless someone has removed it. But it's the picture there of a manila file folder called the File Explorer. And when you click it, I'm going to go ahead and maximize it so we can see all parts of it. You use this, of course, to manage your files. That's why it's called File Management Microlab. But it's keeping track of naming, renaming, moving, viewing, 100 different things having to do with file management. Let's get to know the screen. First of all, in Windows 10 and 11, we have a thing here called Quick Access. It's designed to be a help for you. Things that you have used recently or a lot will show up here. Down beneath it is a listing of all of your assets that belong to your computer. Mostly, of course, it's the desktop or downloads or your C drive or something like that. And of course, this varies on each computer depending on what parts of the network it's connected to. Because we're clicked on Quick Access up here, this is what we see is recently used folders and recently used files. If you were to click over at this PC, of course, that totally changes to show you the contents of this PC. So just remember, by default, you're probably going to see this, but unless you're looking for something you did recently, you're probably going to have to go somewhere else to find what you're looking for. Just back to Quick Access, know that there are 10 slots here, and it is the 10 most recent things you've used. If you don't want something to be there, like that one, you can just right-click on it and choose. There it is, remove from Quick Access. But notice, there's always 10 things there, so something else will come back and fill it up. If there's something that you want there, for example, let's just say this H drive, whatever that is, you could pin to, sorry, not to start. Into Quick Access. Couldn't see it. My eyeballs were frozen. Now you see that it's here. And I'll just get rid of that, unpin from Quick Access, or you could right click here and pin to Quick Access. So that's how that works. Quick Access, it's there if you want to use it. It's not, don't worry about it. Okay, what normally you do is you're going to come down here to, you were looking for some file that you saved somewhere to open up or to move or to copy for some reason. So you could start on this PC. Notice when you click here that these items, 3D desktop, document, they're all listed up here as well. So this is what's called a tree view of all of the assets underneath here. But when you click on here, this is the detail view of what's in that. Now notice if we were to click documents, that's now going to show me everything within documents. But notice it's attendance tracker, CIS 105. You could click the little arrow here and you're going to see all of those down there as well. So just two different places you're seeing the same thing. This here in the tree view, unless you expand it, only shows you one level beneath and only folders. You won't actually see files here. Remember, a folder is a container, often called a directory as well, in which you can put other containers, files or folders, or actual files. Okay. So I'm going to collapse that again. And just notice one thing here. It's kind of hard to read all that stuff because it's too narrow. If you point your mouse on the border between these two areas, you'll get a double-headed arrow and you can drag it out. Oh, and now you can read the stuff. Okay. So that's how this works. When you click here, you can expand if you want to get to the folders this way, but you're eventually going to end up over here in order to find files. Now, I want to make you familiar with a couple of these things. First of all, documents. You will find that you use that quite a bit here at SCC. Also, downloads is something that you'll use in at least in the CIS 105 class, because when you're using a grader, for example, in MyLab IT, you'll download the file to work on, and it will be here in your downloads folder. So when you want to go turn it back in, that's where you go find it, unless you've moved it somewhere else, which we'll talk about later. But here's probably the most important part to know about this over here is your H drive. Now notice this is not the same icon. Let me click up here. You'll notice the icon that's used for your Windows computer is different than the icon that is used for these three here, the SW and H folder. Now notice your H folder is also identified by your MEID. This is a little slot of cloud memory that you have right here on SCC campus where you can store your files. And these are available from any computer. When you log into any computer on the SCC computer network, your downloads, your desktop, your H drive, all become available on that computer. You could be working in the class, having logged in the class under your name, and put an item, for example, here on your desktop. Let me just go grab something from my other side, put it over here. Let's say that that was there in your desktop. When you log in over in the tutoring lab or the IT lab, that same file would be right there because your desktop follows your login around. Back on File Manager, all of these items, of course, your C drive won't be the same on two different computers, but especially the H drive, as well as the S and W, follow you around from computer to computer. So if you're worried about being able to work on something in multiple locations, you might want to think about saving it on the H drive. One extra benefit, and you won't come across this till later, is that your H drive is also available from home through MySCC. Yeah, any file you save here, when you get on your own computer at home, your laptop in a coffee shop or whatever, you can log into the MySCC network and get to this here. You wouldn't be able to get to something that was on your quick favorites or your C drive or something like that. Okay, so I think we understand where things are. So let's just click here. Notice, and I don't know why this is, but when you go to the H drive, you may have two different documents folders. You're only going to find out by experience which one is the one you actually use. I bet you can tell which one I use. Yeah, I think this one is local to my computer, and this one here is on my H drive. I can access these from anywhere. So if you have two documents folders, just take a minute to get used to them, and you'll figure out which one's where. Many classes have you create in your documents folder on your H drive a folder for that class. Let's pretend we don't have all this stuff that's already here, and you want to create a new folder. How do you do that? Well, of course, you have, when you're up here, you have different toolbars or ribbons available to you. Now, not all of the buttons are highlighted yet because you can't do something because you haven't selected anything. Notice as soon as I click on this file, a bunch more of these things become available, so on and so forth. They go back and forth. If I click somewhere else, they're not available. First thing you wanted to do was in your documents folder, create a new file. Notice this, once you're in a resource that you have access to, you can click the create a new file button. You could also right click over here somewhere and choose new and choose folder. We'll go this way, new folder. Notice it comes down here and it lets you type. It's already blue. It's already highlighted. You don't have to click anywhere in order to start typing. That big blue area is your cursor. But I bet you'll do this. You'll click somewhere, all of a sudden it's named new folder. Well, if you want to rename it, click it once to select it, wait a second, then click again, and it turns blue. And now you can just start typing. And I'm just going to call this something really weird. That could be your CIS 105 folder. When you're done, you press enter, and you now have a folder. And you can start saving files in it, moving stuff there, whatever. So that's how to create a folder. And I'm going to delete that one to show you how to do that as well. I could do it that way, or I could click up there and click the delete. Permanently remove. You can't recycle on the H drive, just so you know. It's a permanent delete. Okay, so that's how to create a folder. Now, when you're working here, well, let's go back to the first one. When you're doing downloads, you're going to have downloaded some sort of file, and it's going to from MyLab IT. It's going to be called a grader or something like that. Okay, you can leave it here in downloads if you want, but you may want to copy that and paste it on your H drive, or cut it and paste it. The difference between copy and cut is that cut removes it from this location, whereas copy just makes a copy of it. I am, for some reason, going to cut this, and then I'm going to go to my H drive, to my documents folder, and I'm just going to go into CIS 105, and I'm going to paste it. And I paste it right now. Yeah, sure, up here, here's your paste button. And just so you know, you could also right-click somewhere here on the white and choose paste as well. Either way, now we have a My Course 3 CSV. And if I were to go to back, by the way, how do I go back to where I was? These are cool buttons here. They're like the back buttons on your browser. It'll take you back to the last location you were. And sure enough, there's that, see, that number 3 somewhere there that I copied and pasted. Actually, I got it from downloads. I'll have to go back one more. There we are, downloads. And there it is, My Course. These buttons then can help you navigate through things if you're getting a bunch of different files or something like that. Just has a memory of where you've been, just like your browser. Now, this button here is different. I'm going to get into documents, and I'm going to go deep. I'm going to go into CIS 105, Excel, Capstone. There's some files. You'll notice I can see that here. This is 3 folders down. I want to go back up to CIS 105. This here does not mean go back somewhere. It means go upward in the file structure. So that puts me on CIS 105. This one will take me to documents, and this one will take me to my PC. So just know what those arrows are there. Also, we have breadcrumbs. These are breadcrumbs. This is Hansel's house. This is the beginning of the forest. This is the middle of the forest. This is the old witch's house. If you just want to follow, I want to get back to documents, you can just click there and it takes you right back there. So this bar is a navigation bar that helps you move around to different places. Okay, let's talk about copying and pasting and cutting and pasting. We just did it once, but you may want to use a different method. For example, let's say you want to display your downloads folder here. Let me get rid of documents so you can see that. And downloads is only 1 folder thick. But you also want to put a bunch of things, let's say. In the, I'm going to see if I can find one that has some more folders in it. Yeah, there we go. Okay, notice this one has a bunch of folders deep in it. Let's say I wanted to take this file and put it here. Well, of course, you could right-click it and choose copy, or you could come up here and copy, or do you want to cut, or whatever. But there's a simpler way to do that. If you can see on your screen the location it's coming from and the location it's going to, then you can just drag it. Now, I'm going to drag this file from downloads into this folder for some reason. And notice before I let go of it, it says move. But what if I want to copy? Okay, well, I'll do something different then. I'll right-click and drag and then put it there. Now, it still says move, but since I'm right-clicking, when I let go, I get a menu. And I can choose either to copy here or to move here. That is very important to know. Please remember that one. If you're moving files around and you're not sure, what the operation will be, and you're saying, well, gee, it's if you click and drag it, it's move. Well, that's not always true. We're moving there because we're staying within one resource. This is all on your H drive. But if you were to try to move something to your C drive, let's just see if we can do that here. There's your C drive. We'll expand that. And we got this is a folder here called temp. You can just kind of play around with the contents of that. Notice if I drag it from here to temp, it wants to copy it by default. It's hard to remember whether it wants to move or it wants to copy depending on where you're going. Remember, if it's on the same resource, it's move. If it's a different resource, it's copy, but you may not know the difference between the resources. So be safe. If you're copying and dragging files, use the right mouse button. You can drag it from where you're going to where you want to go, and then when you get there, you can choose either copy or move. Okay, one more thing here. Notice in my view here, I am seeing just about wherever I go. let's see, FSW. I'm seeing the name of it. I'm seeing the date modified, type, size. You may be seeing different things. Well, that's because there are different views into file folders. If you come up here to click View, and this is the main thing I want to show you, is you can change how things display here. Extra large icons. When I'm looking at photographs, that's what I want to see, because I want to be able to actually see the photograph. If you wouldn't need to view a bunch of them at a time, there's large icons, there's medium icons. So all three of those just show you the name of the file underneath an icon. However, and you can also get small icons. But you can also do things like list here, that's just the words, or details. Tiles, I'm not really sure what that one does. Content is a little bit more beefy list one. But you may want to, details is the one I like, and here's why. For example, let me go back to downloads. I'm going to collapse a bunch of this stuff I'm not using just to make it easier to see where I am. Okay, downloads. Again, you will have downloaded a file from Pearson MyLab IT to work on, and then it's going to be time for you to upload it. You want to make sure that that file that you're uploading is the one that you saved just a minute ago. You just finished your homework, you saved the file, and now it's time to upload it. Notice what you can see here. This tells you when it was modified. This was at 8:42 this morning. I played around with that one. So before you upload something, you want, because I have had many students who have turned in not the file they worked on, but the blank file they downloaded, because they didn't check the date modified time. And you don't get a very good grade if you turn in the one that doesn't have anything done to it. So this is a good view in your File Explorer to be able to see a lot of different information about the file at once. But again, if you're in something like pictures, you may want to see extra large icons and to actually see what the image is instead of just its file name. All right. So with that, there is a lot more to learn about File Manager, but you've learned what the different portions of the screen are, how you can view either the tree mode or the detail mode over here. You've learned how to use the navigation bar to take you back and forth between different folders that you may be working with currently. We've seen that the ribbon up here can change, and that the nature of the buttons, the ones that you can use, change depending on what you're clicking. You've seen how to create a new folder, and you've seen how to copy and paste. The last thing I want to leave you with is an admonition that you really get to know your H drive in your documents folder. This is yours. Create good organization here. You probably want to create a CIS 105 folder, and you probably want to have graders and simulations and homework and whatever to keep copies of everything that you have done. Let's say you turn something in and Mr. McCarty says, no, I never got it. Well, you don't want to have to go back and do it again. So for Pete's sakes, keep a copy of it. So if I were you, here's how I'd work it. I just downloaded something from Pearson. I'm going to say it's this one here. I'm going to cut that. And I'm going to move it to my H drive, Documents, CIS 105. And I'm just going to make a new folder here called Stuff. And then I'm going to paste it there. There we go. By the way, if you have Windows 11, when you try to paste, you're not going to see these words. You're going to see icons across the top or the bottom for cut, copy, paste, delete, just so you know to be aware of that. Okay. So anyway, there it is. Now this is mine, and I'll work on it, do the kind of stuff I need to it. And then when it's time for me to upload it, I'm going to upload it from here instead of downloads. Would you keep it in downloads the entire time and never move it? Yeah, no problem. But look how many downloads. And this is, just me since April. And that's over summer vacation. I routinely download a ton of stuff, and it's not a good place to organize things. File management is about organizing things, putting them where you want to go. All right, last thing, in an application, we're going to go to Word here, and notice all this stuff here. This is actually a bit of File Manager. As a matter of fact, when you click Open and you click Browse, does this look kind of familiar? This is just a smaller version of the File Explorer. See, you got your things over here. You can do your window view. Over here is your contents view. You can do up, back. There's no buttons up here, but you also, if you need to create a folder here, guess what? You can right click and choose new folder. Yeah, all the same stuff is available in this window. So when you're going to, you need to open a file and you want to save it somewhere else. You downloaded some homework and you want to save it to your H drive. Well, again, you would go here. Let's have a file open. Okay, here's a syllabus from a class. Okay, I want to choose File, Save As, and I'm going to browse. And I'm going to say I want it on my H drive in my Documents folder, in my CIS 105 folder. And now that name doesn't mean anything to me. You don't have to save that file name. You can change something else. This is my file. You can call it whatever. There are some characters you can't use, but you can use whatever you want there. And okay, well, I'd like to go into stuff. There we go. And I'll save it there. So just realize when you're using Word, Excel, Access, those types of things, whenever you go to the File menu and do Save As or Open, you're actually going back to the file management system, the File Explorer, and using those same things that you know how to do in there. Well, congratulations. Hope you're still awake. This is the end of the File Management Microlab. It's now time for you to write up your little 100-word essay and get credit for it. See y'all later.